Inside of a very small castle near the outskirts of Castle Lothwain, four interesting companions meet. A dragon knight, a dwarven cleric, and two wizards. They all set out on a quest to find the dungeon of the Mad Mage. Standing beside a large table, clad in armor with the moonlight shining off of it, Nadaar, Selfless Paladin, a dragon knight, stood there watching the entrance. The next person to enter the room was a heavily armored dwarf with a large axe, accompanied by a few cloister gargoyles. It was Borrowin of Clan Under, a dwarven cleric. Welcome, Borrowin of Clan Under. I'm so glad you could make it. Of course, Nadaar, Selfless Paladin. I would never miss an opportunity like this. And plus, it's not every day I get to adventure with a dragon knight. Oh man. You're quite amazing yourself, my friend. Have a seat. She'll be here any moment. You mean to tell me she isn't here yet? It's always like a wizard to be late. Before he could even take his seat, a spark of light zips into one of his gargoyles, and it transforms into a fragile little bird before collapsing onto the floor, lifeless. Borrowin reached out his arm and resurrected the gargoyle immediately. With his other arm, he grabbed his axe and began spinning in circles, looking for whoever just cast that spell. But from up above, he heard a demonic voice and laughter. A dwarf who can cast spells? How absurd. Down from the ceiling came an eccentric apprentice, a tiefling wizard who was charging up another large spell in his hand. You've never seen a dwarf who can cast spells? Well, sometime I can raise the dead, and you're about to find out. Oh, really? Would you like to fly, dwarf? As he began to charge up a massive spell to cast at Borrowin, Borrowin lunged at him with his large axe with the intent to kill. Immediately, they both heard a loud cling as light filled up the entire room. It was Nadaar, Selfless Paladin. He blocked the axe with his sword that was radiating with a golden bright light, and he also completely negated the spell using a shield that seemed to look like a mirror. Both combatants stood there in complete shock and awe. Are you two fools done playing? I was just testing the little dwarf. Nothing to be upset about. I wasn't upset at all. I just hate insults, and I don't like tieflings. Ah, I see you boys have met. Down a spiraling staircase came Hammer Pashar, Rune Seeker, a human wizard, a beautiful wizard to say the least, holding an illuminated staff that was just as beautiful as she was. Apprentice, you should be ashamed of yourself. You should be more kind to our guest. Yes, ma'am. My apologies. I was only jesting. How are you, old friend? Ah, if it isn't Hammer Pashar, just as beautiful as ever, I see. Oh, and nice to meet you too, Borrowin of Clan Under. I've heard a lot about you. Yes, madame. The pleasure's all mine. I see you've met my apprentice. I apologize for his rude behavior earlier. Anyway, let's get down to business. Yes, you said you know a way to find the dungeon of the Mad Mage, as all 4 companions sit at the large table surrounded by the gargoyles. Yes, I do. You see, my apprentice here, he's been doing a lot of scouting lately. First, we have to find the lost mine of Pandelver. Yes, the lost mine of Pandelver. It's at a cave entrance. It's a 4-room dungeon that leads to the Temple of Doomathon. Yes, and that temple leads us to the Yawning Portal, which is where we'll find the dungeon of the Mad Mage. Are you certain? Yes, I'm certain. It's a large 7-room dungeon with all types of crevices and lost levels, but that's definitely where the Mad Wizard's lair is. I can be certain of it. Well, that does seem to be doable if we all work together. Well, the rooms won't be a problem. As you can see, I have the ability to make people fly. Ah, yes, with an enchantment like that, it will be very useful indeed. Well, I also have an enchantment. The Precipitous Drop. That should help us clear a lot of rooms. Oh, I see. You can cast enchantments too. So you're not that useful for a dwarf. Watch your tone. I also have a few useful spells that'll help protect us if we see any guards approaching. And I also got a hold of a few Delver's torches. Ah, yes, that should be everything we need. With this and my mirror shield, that should help protect us. We should have no problem finding the dungeon of the Mad Mage. Ah, yes. Let's get on with it and find this ludicrous wizard. As the light from her staff goes out, all 4 companions set off on this vast adventure. What would they encounter on their way to the dungeon of the Mad Mage? Will they find the cave of the Frost Dragon? Will they pass through the Temple of Silence? Find out on MTG Stories. Thanks for tuning in.